Well, shit, I got my list right here. I'll run through really quick because spoiler alert: Speedin' Bullet to Heaven is the bottom. I'll go from last to best, but yeah, I got Speedin' Bullet to Heaven, and then I have the new Man on the Moon shit. I just couldn't really get into
It's
it.
not that good. It's
It's like it's got its moments where I'm like, well, let me preface all this by saying I wasn't like the biggest Kid Cudi fan. Like I know like some people like Kid Cudi is like your favorite artist,
I mean, he
one of
wasn't
your
my
top
favorite
five.
artist, but
Yeah, and
I definitely had the big Kid Cudi phase myself.
yeah, and I totally get that. Like I get the merit and everything, but that wasn't me. So like Man on the Moon 3, even the parts that kind of like bring me back to my peak Kid Cudi fandom, I was just like, it's not even that great.
Hmm.
So I had that. What is that? 6 out of 7. And then um, I have that one, the Saturday flight. I never really listened to that one. Um, the Kid Cudi presents Saturday Flight.
Yeah.
But it's good. That one's good too. It's got some cool features and stuff. That was right after Indicud. Um,
Oh, the
which
satellite flight joint.
satellite, yeah, that one. That one is it's cool, but it's just nothing special to me. And then we start getting into the realm of where I really start liking the catalog a lot, and that's for me. That's like Passion, Pain, Demon Slayin. I think that
Hmm.
was his last one that I was like really crazy about. Like I really liked almost everything about it. And then Man on the Moon 2 is great. Not as good as the first installation of that, but so I have Man on the Moon 2, and then Indicud, and then the original Man on the Moon. So I think those top four are really great, and then bottom three I don't love. I don't
So
really even like that much.
so top four is one Man on the Moon one, two
Yes,
Indica, three
yes,
Man on the Moon two, four
yes,
Passion Pain and Demon Slayer.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, our lists are kind of trending in the same direction. We have the same like top four and bottom three, but we're a little jumbled. So, um, I just want to say, yeah, I was one of those people. Like Kid Cudi, huge fan, really early on. I remember driving to Seattle to go see one of his concerts.
Mm.
I think right before this album was coming. No, I'm sorry, right before Man on the Moon 2 was coming out. Um, shout out Vita. Vita took me.
Yeah, shout out Vita.
Shout out Vita, the goat. So I just I even remember like the first time I heard Day and Night, or I was hearing Day and Night, and I remember seeing the music video on TV. And I don't think I was smoking weed yet, but I was like, this is what it's like.
About to. It's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, I'm about to. I'm about to now. I'm on a path now. Um, yeah, I just yeah. So my list: Speedin' Bullet to Heaven at the bottom. Yeah, unfortunately, I do give this album a little bit more credit than I think it typically gets for its reputation, but because there is some actual, because we just re-listened to it too to like review it for
Right.
obligatory again, but we it was a little better than I thought it was initially, and it does have some okay songs on it. I thought about putting Satellite Flight last because it's like the least memorable of any of his albums to me. Um, but yeah, they're both at the bottom for me. Man on the Moon 3, I agree with you. It's not great, I don't think. It does have some pretty cool moments on it, but it was one of those albums I stopped listening to really, really quickly. Like 2, 3 listens, I probably stopped. I agree. Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayin was cool. You know what I also didn't notice about him is that like it felt like he didn't release a lot of albums. Like he took multiple hiatuses and breaks, but it was like you have a Kid Cudi album every year from 2009 to 2011, and then he takes a break, and then 2013 to 2016 he made an album every year after that, and then he took another break, and then 2020 he dropped Man on the Moon 3. Um, I guess there are just more albums of his than I think about. Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayin, I agree, pretty good. It was like another one of his more comebacky, old Cudi sounding kind of records, and again has some really good moments, but um, overall didn't quite live up to what I was hoping. Still, I remember when I first heard it.
That album also has some really great features on it, though.
Yes,
That's
like,
probably one of the strongest points of that.
yeah, and
You got 3 Stacks features. Like,
3 Stacks
Yeah.
feature. Even the Willow Smith feature that's on there. That song,
Yeah,
Rose Golden, that's a good fucking song.
It's all quality.
Number 3 for me, Indicud, which I think also kind of is like underrated or got a bad rap at the time, still does. I think that is one of his more ambitious albums, maybe most ambitious albums, without it going to the extent of like Speedin' Bullet to Heaven. And like you were saying about the guests that are on Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayin', like that album has a bunch of cool guests, especially considering when he had them on there. Father John Misty, fucking Kendrick Lamar, the Solo Dolo Part 2, that's a jam. 2 shorts on there randomly. Haim, the RZA, fucking ASAP Rocky's on it. So I think that's got a cool cast of guests as well. Underrated album. Now, we disagree on this too. Man on the Moon 1, I think is great for the nostalgia, and it's my second favorite purely out of the amazing nostalgia it brings me, but I don't really think it's... I think it is not nearly on the level that Man on the Moon 2 is. I think Man on the Moon 2 is the Kid Cudi album that really epitomized like the dark things that were going on in his life, some of the most troubling things that were going on in his life, that I think brought him an experience of catharsis that you don't just go over multiple times in your life, right? Or try to go back to that space too many times in your life. So, and then also guests on this album are freaking great. The CeeLo Green feature is awesome. Both the Mary J. Blige features are awesome. Chuck English Beat is on here. GLC is on here. Yeah, and this has some of my absolute favorite songs. I think it's the most well-rounded of any of them. What are y'all like with Kid Cudi? Were y'all ever really a fan of him, and do you have a favorite album by him?
When I was like the first one, that was like right when the level of drugs went up with me and my friend group. So,
yeah, I'm not kidding. I feel like that was the first time I was like, yo, this must be what smoking weed sounds like.
That was we was already smoking weed. We just upped it up a little further than that. We went. But anyway, that was so I had some times with that album. What was that one Soundtrack to My Life? Or no,
yeah, Soundtrack to My Life.
Hearing that all the time in my homies' cars. And then the second one, I hella like the song All Along. It's really sad, but I always fuck with that.
That album hits deep. I really, it does.
But other than those 2 albums, I never. And the one that he just did with Kanye, Kids See Ghosts. I played that one a lot. Not a lot, but I played that one. But other than that, I haven't really. I can't say that I gave much anything like a lot of play to know whether I liked it or not.
What about you, Cal?
Yeah. When Kid Cudi first dropped, I was skeptical. I was hesitant to get into it.
Yeah.
You know, just being who I was at the time, and really who got me like super deep into that record was F.
Wow.
Shout out to F.
I moved up to Portland, and I would like pick him up from where he lived and bring him to my house in Hawthorne where we were recording, and we were bumping like Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon, and Clips, and like Ninth Wonder Immerse, and those were like we'd always like run.
That's a nice bag.
That's a trio right there. That's fire.
Yeah. I kind of started like what T&E's sound kind of was like, by more or less, and yeah, he kind of convinced me because I was like, this dude can't sing for shit.
Yeah, I mean? that was what I would hear when I would try to show somebody the shit.
And he like put it in my head of like, nah, like listen to the like he's not fucking whatever Michael Jackson trying to sing like Michael Jackson, like he's just like putting his emotions out. And once that connected, then like I became a really big Kid Cudi fan for sure.
I mean that it's the best music to listen to when you're coming down off Molly.
when you coming down hard.
Yeah. You hear those hums and they soothe you.
Yeah. They like re-put the serotonin that you're missing back in your brain a little bit.
They're trying to replay exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. And definitely like I was just about, you know, It was just kind of like, man, is he really even that good at rap? You know, it's like when you listen to people like Elzai or some shit, and then you hear like a Kid Cudi verse. You're like, is this dude even good at rap? But it's like it's a different world. It's a different like getting the vibe and a different thing. So that was my only like thing with Kid Cudi that took me a minute to kind of like get over that hump of like, don't judge him like this underground spitter. Like he's making a full complete song that's gonna put you through these emotions.
That's cool though.
The thing that kind of turned me off about Man on the Moon was like Common narrating it.
Oh yeah. That doesn't really sound that great to me anymore. I thought I liked that when it first came out, but now it's just distracting. I thought
that was tight.
Yes, yeah. At the time, I thought it was
going
epic.
Back now,
honestly,
I'm like, it's a little corny, but
yeah.
I just watched the movie Just Right with Common and Queen Latifah.
Yeah, that movie's fucking great.
Shit is fire.
I went and bought a Nets jersey. I got Jason.
Yeah, it's Common play for the Nets.
Common's a 5'8" small forward.
That movie is fucking great.
I just remember those being kind of like the negatives, but then I really got into it. And I mean, if I had to rank his albums, it'd be the first Man on the Moon, then the second Man on the Moon,
and then so forth.
And then like I really like Kid Cudi Ghost, like Reborn. I played that.
Yeah.
Reborn is so fire. Sci-Hi the Prince wrote that whole shit.
Crazy.
He's crazy.
That's crazy.
He's crazy.
Yeah. Sci-Hi's crazy.
I like that even at that time, and you had a different perspective on like what a rapper or what a singer was supposed to do. That you still eventually kind of came around to that, because I think like Kid Cudi in that way like did quite a bit for music, because a lot of people started to emphasize like the spirit, the emotion, the personality of it ahead of maybe the singing, the writing components of it that people really took seriously for a long time.
And he is really a great singer. He's just unique. It's like you never really heard somebody doing that, and so your first thought could be like, "Oh, well, this I haven't heard it." It's it can go to a negative place really quick with that shit. But yeah, Kid Cudi's great. I watched that interview with him where I liked the new Man on the Moon project. I thought it had some joints. Not to say I like have bumped it a whole lot, but I have to like remind myself when I'm like judging projects, and it's like, you're going to compare it to an album you've heard for like 11 years that you got to live with in all these different places. And now we consume music in such a different way. So I thought like the Man on the Moon 3 project had some joints, but I'm with you. I didn't allow myself to really like keep listening to it, whether that was because of the music or just because of the time we live in where there's always something new to check out.
Anytime Kid Cudi drops, so we talked about this in the review too, is like, we've always asked for old Kid Cudi. Like pretty much ever since he dropped that first album, for some reason, like people have always had this nostalgia about when his music, when it drops, that it always feels kind of hard to live up to. Like it always kind of seems like of this magnitude. It's just like crazy. For what it's worth though, on a side note, probably Kid Cudi's got to be one of the top 10, top 5 concerts I've been to. I've seen him twice, and both times were equally amazing. Like he's got something about the live show that takes it up another notch. So he's a great live performer as well.
My main slight against him is Pete Davidson likes him a lot.
Okay, I didn't know that, but that's, I mean,
I just can't. I want to punch that dude in the face so fucking bad.
That's hella funny.
It's hard out here for Pete Davidson.
Fuck Pete Davidson.
Fuck Pete Davidson, bro.
No, we got
Don't know that man, but I'm with you. We are violating him, huh?
We've got the name of the episode now.
Fuck Pete Davidson.
Yep.